2023 presidential election. Tinubu, U.S. court order of $460,000 forfeiture against me not enforceable, says other was never registered in any Nigerian court. As APC joins INEC in urging panel to dismiss Atiku PDP's petitions. A president-elect's media team meets foreign press in U.S., dismisses rigging claims. And Labour Party, Obi's traducers trailed him to UK, bent on implicating him. London immigration reveals former Anambra governor being impersonated. Above the nameplate this morning, again, IMF urges Nigeria to increase tax and reduce borrowings. Begins to sound like a song. Canvasses targeted subsidies for health, education sectors. And a couple of other stories on the front page this morning, but the picture of cost on our sister publication this morning is that from the spring meetings of the IMF World Bank group in Washington, D.C., U.S., and that's the governor of the Central Bank of Kenya on the left, Nigeria's governor in the middle, Godwin Emefiele, and of course, the deputy governor, economic policy, CBN. A story we must never forget that the Guardian is reminding us of this morning is Chibok girls, the pains that won't go away 9 years after, and that will be April 14th tomorrow, that day in 2014. But other stories on the front page of the Guardian this morning, from phone leak to treason charge, Obi stirs fresh controversy with London arrests. Yoruba groups warn against stopping Tinubu's inauguration on May 29. Workers trapped as 7-story building collapses in Banana Island, Lagos. There have been different versions to that story, but the authorities say no one was trapped under the rubble.
All right, let's look at the Daily Sun. 25% FCT votes not needed to win presidency. That's coming from INEC. Tells tribunal it can declare winner without recourse to BVAS, electronic transmission, and others. And by the side of the Sun logo, Obi raises alarm over impersonation, framing plot in the UK. And just that picture you're looking at there, that's the chief whip of the Senate, Carlo, in service of songs right there in America, over his late wife with a daughter, the chairman of Sun newspaper. New NAS leadership, APC to unveil zoning formula after Ramadan. LP crisis, state chairman stop Ababa-led NWC from entering party's headquarters. Of course, Diri, Anyanwu, Imad Bayelsa, Imo PDP governorship candidates. FEC approves 6 billion naira for third mainland bridge maintenance. Reviews old Enugu-Onitsha road contract by 17 billion.
Well, let's quickly go to the foreign papers, shall we? I think we have the Daily Express coming up. Yes, indeed. King's Relief for Harry will be there. Talking about the coronation, the paper says unnamed sources within the monarchy are happy that Harry, the Duke, will be at the coronation.
All right, the I-paper.
The U.S. paper leak says British lives at risk from that leak because of the British soldiers in Ukraine.
All right, blink and you miss it, coronation visit. And no one will ever admit it, but they'll be sighing with relief at the palace.
The Guardian.
Daily Telegraph.
The Guardian, yes. The Guardian is leading with Joe Biden's promise of $6 billion in U.S. government funding to be given to Northern Ireland if power sharing is restored in Stormont.
All right, Daily Telegraph. All right, this is interesting. Meghan would never come back for this. She doesn't want to be the sideshow. Harry's place at coronation sparks hope of royal truce. And now let's invite Emmanuel Bello. Emmanuel, good morning. Glad to have you join us. Morning. All right, some interesting stories on the front page of a sister publication this day. Tinubu, U.S. court order of $460,000 forfeiture against me not enforceable. Says order was never registered in any Nigerian court. APC joins INEC, urges panel to dismiss Atiku PDP's petition. President-elect's media team meets foreign press in U.S., dismisses rigging claims. Well, I guess you want to treat that, or maybe you could add Labour Party obese traducers drilled into the UK, bent on implicating him. Okay.
Yes, very strong political stories, and this day is going for a story that you don't find. I don't think, okay, the Sun has that story, but marginally, story from the courts, and I think it's going to make interesting reading going forward what's happening at the courts, because I article yesterday said the judiciary is on trial, so I think the media too will have to focus on what's happening in the courts. So here is one aspect of the story, is that Tinubu lawyers are saying that, look, that forfeiture that we, if you remember, it was greatly celebrated. It was seen as a reason tying him to all the accusation about him being a drug lord and all of that, and the forfeiture. But now it's the battle of the sands out here, saying that, well, that didn't happen here, it happened elsewhere. The courts or the tribunals have no jurisdiction. So yes, the judiciary is under trial, a lot of trial, and it is going to be the battle of wits of the senior advocates, and of course the big million, if not, I don't know, running a lot of legal fees paid to very senior lawyers to make great cases and all of that. But I think at the heart of it is the issue of the conscience, the issue of morality, not just the legalese or legality of it, that somebody who is now probably was going to be president of this country had to do some kind of a feature, what looks like some shady deals and all that. So people saying that this does not in any way qualify him to be president. So he has a lot of moral questions around him. Yeah, remember in the build-up to the election, there was nothing that was not asked about Tinubu. His age, where he's from, what he's done in the past, his relationship with even Lagos State and all of that. So all of those were the sort of thing that his opponents were throwing at him and saying that nobody was talking about. But actually people also questioned his competence, his health, his age. Everything was questioned. And one of the things that question was that those years, those what looks like shadowy years in the US, nobody knowing truly what's where the picture. Some people trying to get teeth and bits of it. But the one that came out so clearly from the courts is this particular issue. But now his lawyers are saying that, look, it's still not strong enough to hold him down, and that it's something that happened here. Just tells you what's
camp, of course, says he was never found guilty of any of those charges.
Yes, but some people saying that is strong enough. It's some kind of whether you like it or not, an issue that's cropped up during the campaign so strongly. People saying questioning his morality, his decency around his businesses and all of that. And people saying that even for these reasons alone, he shouldn't be president of any decent people, decent country, considering the kind of moral deficits around his candidacy. People saying that his presidency will be bogged by most of this kind of issues.
Those are, I mean, that's the point. Most of them were accusations
in the courts.
The fact that there was money that was forfeited.
Yes.
But let's look at another, adjoining story to that story on the front page of this day, before we quickly move over to the Punch. It says Tinubu's team meeting with U.S. press. What do you make of that? Presidential-elect's media team meets foreign press in U.S., dismisses rigging claims. Are you able to understand why they have to meet with the U.S. press to dismiss rigging claims? I'm trying to understand that.
Yeah, well, yes. It's all part of that whole campaign right now, the campaign after the presidential elections, to convince the world sort of that, look, those elections were credible. That's why the elections were attacked, they were taken, to the cleaners by all sort of people, both local and international observers, saying that these elections did not meet any known standards of what elections should be like in a decent democracy. But now they're out there. I think Lai Mohammed did his beat. Now Festus Keyamo and his team, made up of top level state officials, are elsewhere trying to convince. It's a sort of moral burden, the sort of burden that the Tinubu team carry with them from the campaign, the days of the campaigns, to now that he's now president-elect. Well, they need to convince the world that their man is okay and that the elections were. They almost spoke as if even Festus Keyamo had to say, look, he's not speaking for INEC, but it sounded almost like the INEC chairman himself talking about the election, saying that, look, no one promised any real-time uploading of results, and that these were the best elections. He said, for instance, that some of the upsets that happened in this election show that, look, they can only be credible. For instance, use that as an example. That tells you that something happened here and that those votes are counted. He says
President himself losing
losing the chairman of the party, I'd like losing his own state. So Festus Keyamo is like, if you look at all of this, it's telling our colleagues out there that, look, if you look at all this, it shows that these elections,
there's a shift.
There's a shift. And that sitting governors actually losing their senatorial seat. So Keyamo is saying that, look, if these elections were doctored, if these elections were tinkered with, you don't expect this kind of monumental kind of shift and loss and a change in the way things normally happen. I mean, if a governor wanted to be senator in those days, you just get it, even on the platter. But
it's almost given.
Yes, given. But that didn't happen this time around. You remember, even the president boasted with that recently, saying he's so glad that some governors are not coming to the Senate. So this is an election, and then he talked about even the violence around it. He went back to the 60s and build out the figures of people that died during elections. And he say, in this election, we didn't record those sort of violence. It's a some way of saying that, look, cleaning up the records and saying these are very